I've been debating since I got off work whether I do whether I do this vlog or not. And I finally decided to do so that I can at least record down the the incident at work while it's still fresh in my mind. And this is a bit off from what I normally do. And I'm going to change a lot of the story so that no one's identity is revealed. I mean, obviously it involves me, so I mean, can't exactly get that out. But the problem customer involved is not going to be revealed. And I'm even going to change what they picked up so that it's even harder to identify. In addition to the name of my supervisor. So, if you don't know what I do, I work in a commercial laundry plant and dry cleaning operation. I am the route manager. That means I'm in charge of all of the commercial linen getting to their various destinations and making sure that my drivers get it there. All right? Everything else I do is under the direction of someone else. And I do quite a lot. Mainly because that's just the kind of guy I am. I do whatever I can to help out the cause. We were down someone to operate the dry clean machine. I went and quickly learned and operate the machine. We're down a folder. I'll go fold blankets for a couple hours. Machines need to be loaded. I'll go load a machine, etc., etc., etc. One of the duties I do is manning the front counter. In addition to the commercial operation we have a over-the-counter, not commercial, but residential dry clean and laundry operation. It's your standard sort of, bring in your jacket or your suit, sort of thing, get dry cleaned, we'll dry clean it and press it, it'll be ready in 2 days. Basic sort of thing. Nothing too fancy, no same day service or one hour, we'll pretend we can clean it efficiently in 1 hour and then just not get even close. Nothing like that. No. We actually put a lot of pride in our work. We can spend upwards of, well, I'm not going to go into any detail. You don't need to know that. The point is that on Fridays, one of the reasons I don't stream is because in order to help out the cause, I cover the front counter for a couple hours. And that's fine. I don't mind at all. Today was interesting, to say the least. About 4:15 p.m., I get a phone call. That's not normal. I mean, that's not abnormal. Get a phone call. They say the customer says their last name. Do you have anything for me? I go through and I quickly find, yeah, here's a pair of pants that needs to be picked up. And she asks how much is due. Okay. So I look at the ticket. It's a handwritten ticket. I see $21.92 on the bottom for the total, but above that I see a cursive P and something scribbled next to it with 10 on it. This is where I made my first mistake. And I admit, this was my fault. This was 100%, well, not 100%. It was mostly my fault. I thought that meant paid, that there was $10 down on it. So I told her it was $11.92. That's what I said. Then she asked me what time we close. I said 6 o'clock. She said right at 6, and I said yes, firmly at 6. I have places I need to go, and I mean, I'm all for helping someone out, but I'm not gonna wait at at the place for a half hour for someone who may or may not show up. That's not something I do, and that's not good for the company either. It doesn't do them any good for me to be there for a half hour waiting for someone and being on the clock, burning all that money to keep me there on the clock to wait on one person that may or may not be there. So no, firmly at 6, doors are locked, I punch out. That's all there is to it. If the place is locked up, I leave. So right off the bat, I was worried. I was worried that this was going to be someone mad dashing in at, at like 5:55 or like 6:02 or something like that, banging on the door as I'm locking up the building. I was afraid that's how this was going to go. Already I had a bad feeling, but little did I know I had a bad feeling for the wrong reason. A couple of customers showed up at 5:30. The woman shows up. All right. My name is so-and-so. I called earlier. And I said, oh, okay. You all right, you're the person who called earlier. And I asked for the last name. She gives me it. I go grab her order. It was then at that moment, looking at the ticket, I realized something was wrong. I said that $10 was paid down on it. But taking a second look at the ticket, I see one pair of pants, clean and press, $10, P scribble, $10, subtotal 20, tax environmental service, $192, grand total $21.92. It was then at that moment I realized, wait a minute, the math doesn't check out. How could that be $10 paid when there's no other charge items? It was then at this moment I contacted Mary, my supervisor, for the front counter. She said, take a picture of the ticket and text it to me. So I did. I quickly did that. And while I'm trying to settle this, she's just quickly going, is everything okay? And I'm like, and I said, I think there's a problem here. Give me a minute. I'm contacting a supervisor. And Mary gets back to me really quickly. And it was like, yeah, that's a repair. There's a repair charge not paid. And then that's when I realized, yep, I screwed up. And that's when I apologized. I said, I'm sorry. As you can see here, the ticket was scribbled a bit. I misread it to you over the phone. This is the repair. She said, oh, for the zipper. It's like, yes, for the zipper. You owe the full $21.92. That's when everything started going south. Partly understandably so. I mean, if you were told over the phone that it was one price and you get there and it's almost double, you'd be pretty annoyed too. I get that. I'd be pretty upset if I was there too. I apologized immediately. I said, I'm sorry. Here's how things went out. Immediately, without missing a beat, I need to talk to your supervisor. Not how did you mess this up? Not how did this happen? Not where's the closest ATM? I need to talk to your supervisor. It was then at this moment that another customer came in. And he was a regular. He was an old man. He came, picked up his picked up his garments, paid right on the cent. Real quick. Checked him out. Signed out the tickets. On the back of the tickets, we write down initials and the date, so that if there's anything funky going on when it's balancing the books, they can pin down to who was the one managing the cash register at that time to see what happened. So I quickly marked all that, and again, she demanded to talk to my supervisor. Demanded. So I call Mary up on my cell phone. And I told Mary, yep, the customer's here, the one I mentioned earlier, and she'd like to talk to you. I hand her the phone. Something strange about it. Because, before when I was talking to her, I had my headset on. I had my little earpiece Bluetooth that I use to listen to the radio while I'm working and to talk on the phone while I'm driving. I have it pretty much on all the time at work. It was at that point it was starting to get annoying. Because it was really hot, it was sweating. Like, I'm sweating a lot right now because I was just running around here, and now I'm under hot lights, which isn't helping. And I took it off. I didn't have it on. It was in my ear. Or in my pocket, I mean. Blech. I can talk, I swear. And I handed her the phone. I'm going to pretend that this box here is the phone, right? This right here. My phone's already on the charger in the other room. I'm going to pretend this is the phone. I was talking about it like this. I hand it to her. She immediately starts talking to it like this, like it's on speakerphone. I then reach over and I enable speakerphone on the device. And then she starts bawling out. She starts yelling at the phone. Loud enough that the restaurant across the street, you could probably hear her across the street. I don't know for that for a fact, but you probably could. She then starts going on about how she had to leave her father, who just had brain surgery at home under the care of someone else. She had to pay someone else to watch her father while she went and picked up these pair of pants. And it was a huge burden. And then she had to drive a half hour down to our dry clean operation. She then accused me of being very slow, unprofessional, and that I told her on the phone that it was only $10. I did not. For the record, I said $11.92. That's a small detail, but I feel it is very necessary. If you're going to start accusing anyone of anything, you need to get every detail dead on. Because if you don't, you are then at fault for slander. You are then lying. Even minute details. And it doesn't rise to the level of pure slander, but it's still all the little things off, like how slow their worker is. As I was trying to get to the bottom of this as quickly as I could, and I'll be honest, 4 minutes to get to the bottom of why the math on this ticket doesn't end up and why this line item doesn't make sense, I think is relatively quickly, considering the fact I was the only one in the building. But no, he's too slow. Then accused of saying I had problems with this employee before. It was then at that point, I'm standing back. Just listening, trying to bite my tongue, I'm trying not to say anything. As she calls me slow, incompetent, stupid. And then then I'm not sure whether it was by accident or intentionally, but the moment my hand went into my pocket, the speakerphone cut out. She then accused me of remotely cutting off the speakerphone. Now, for starters, if that was a concern of yours, why do you have it on speakerphone? I guess just to make sure that all parties involved can hear every word that's being said. I suppose that makes sense. But then she started accusing me of cutting the speakerphone remotely. And I was a shady character. This guy's sketchy and suspicious. To which, of course, caught me completely off guard. I did not expect to be called shady and suspicious. To which I just... What else would you do? I then reached over and then tapped the speakerphone again to re-enable it. And again, I'll never know whether she did it intentionally or not. I wouldn't doubt that it was done intentionally. She definitely thought a lot of this complaining through. It's possible it was to try and damage my character. I don't know. It could have been completely on accident. An accidental shift of the hand and the thumb grazed against the screen to detect it as a hit and then hit the speakerphone button. It's possible. I can't say for certain. It was then afterwards that she handed me the phone back. And I said, "Take care, Mary." And then I hung up. Now, at that time, she also said, Mary said, "Wait, what?" Right as I hit the hang up button, I actually felt bad. She then, in her shirt pocket, pulled out at least $50 in cash. The customer pulled out $50 in cash after constantly saying, "I only came here with $10 because that's what I said over the phone." This is where I made my second mistake. And I know I shouldn't have, but this was a lot less serious than my first mistake. I couldn't help it. After all of that, I lost my cool after seeing her flash the cash out and start counting out the money. And I said, after all that, she got even angrier. Of course she did. I don't blame her. It was very unprofessional of me. That was when I got unprofessional. When I said after all that. That was the first unprofessional thing I did. And I do regret that. I shouldn't have done that. I know better. She then said that money was to be used, that's not even hers, that's her father's heart medicine money. And again, I apologize. I'm sorry that I lost my cool. She just said, "I'm going to call back Monday. I'm going to call back Monday. You haven't heard the last of me." Then she left 10 minutes after close. That whole incident took 40 minutes for her on this ranting screed. So, after that, Mary called me and, just said how'd it go. Is she finally gone? And it's just, yeah, she's gone. And I explained the last bits that happened. We said a few words and I hung up. She did tell me to go have a drink. I haven't had a drink yet. Like I said, I wanted to get these events recorded while they are still fresh in my mind. There's a couple of things that stood out to me and why I decided I needed to record this. Some inconsistencies. First off, I mean, where do you even start? I really don't even know where you start. I mean, first off, the key one is that I ran all the way down here just for these pair of pants. That's the first thing that, like, stands out. If you're running down here just for these pair of pants, why do you have $50 for prescription money? This clearly isn't a one-time trip, then. I mean, there's other things, too. Brain surgery and a condition where he needs medication for his heart. That's starting to get a little excessive and onto the line of probably being in, like, assisted living or some other form of care. I mean, that's their own personal business. I shouldn't even look into that too much. But the whole thing. It could have easily been just solved by just, look, I'm sorry. Oh, that was the other thing. The other thing. I kept saying, look, I'm sorry. It's written right here very strangely. You can even see it. I mean, it literally was a P and then a scribble. I'd show you the ticket on screen, but I'd have to censor, like, 3/4 of the ticket. And then what would be the point? She came in there to be a problem. The more and more I thought about it, the more and more I thought about what I could have done different to avoid confrontation, to avoid all the problems that happened. I mean, first off, I could have just, you know, noticed the math problem right off the bat with my assumptions. I could have just done that. Avoided the problem altogether. And maybe it would have been friendly. Maybe she would have found something else to be nitpicky about. Because if I remember right, she complained when we put on the new zipper before. Or maybe I'm thinking of someone else. They all blur together. Might have been the same person who complained that the new zipper we put on was silver and she wanted gold and never told us. There might have been some other minor thing. And then it would just be into a ranting screed. And just trying to complain for the sake of complaining. I mean, this was clearly complaining for the sake of trying to get 50% off the ticket because I screwed up. You saw an opportunity and you wanted to capitalize on it. That's what I see. I get where that sort of mentality comes from. I hate it. Straight up. I really do. Because in the grand scheme of things, we all make mistakes. We're all human. The mantra I live by is that you should only make mistakes once. I guarantee you, I'm never going to make that mistake again. Even if it means, okay, the phone call takes an extra minute for me to go through and make sure that I'm reading this ticket exactly, perfectly. I'm going to make sure that never happens again. That is how I live. Never make the same mistake twice. Ever. Be nice if we can avoid it the first time, but it will never happen twice. Mistakes happen. It is important that we as human beings learn from it. Right? That's what's important. To try and take advantage of small mistakes like that for personal gain, no matter how minor, to the point of utterly humiliating yourself. She went into tears, yelling at my supervisor over the phone. That's low. That's really low. My God. As I said, never making that mistake again. But people like that customer, they made far more mistakes than I did. In the end, they got away with nothing. The only thing they did was try to ruin my day. And in the grand scheme of things, the only thing it did was give me a story to tell. Gave me a story to tell, a lesson to learn, and something for me to chuckle about a couple hours later. Yeah, I messed up. We all mess up. You've messed up, I've messed up. Anyone who isn't an immortal being given to us by the almighty Zeus or some other blasted who knows what. Everyone makes mistakes. Some can be costly, some can be minor. To try and exploit them like that's just awful. But there are people like that in the world. And it is important that we make as few of those mistakes as possible. Anyway. I know this wasn't exactly the most well-produced video in the world. And really, the primary reason I made it was just to get every single detail I can recall down on a recording as quickly as I could. You got to see the green screen without it on, though. I guess there's that. Take care, everyone. See you around. How do I close this out? Oh, I know. I'll just do this. Paint it away.